we're so glad that you are here tonight. If you're watching online, we're so glad that you're tuning in as well. Hey, let's stand together and let's worship.
All right, what is up, everyone? Y'all can have a seat. Y'all can have a seat. Look to your neighbor real quick and say, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And then after you say hi to your neighbor, we need to say hi to someone else. First of all, someone who's up here. And I need you all to make a ton of noise for my friend, Julia. Say hi, Julia. Woo! And then we have to say hi to someone else, right?
Yeah, can we say hello to our online people? Can we turn around and wave? Hey, online, what's up, guys?
I love how we wave every week and they really can't.
They
can't really
see
see us, but that's okay. We're waving too. We promise. So we have a game tonight. We have a game tonight, and this game is a prize.
Oh,
a prize.
Definite big prize, you guys.
Now let me say this: this game was gonna have a better prize, but Amazon failed me. Have you ever had Amazon not deliver your package when they say they were going to? It's the worst thing ever. But we found another prize. But this game is called, I need a drum roll for the name. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Julia, what is the name of the game?
Banana for scale.
Banana, not for sale,
For scale.
for scale. We're not selling a banana.
Nope,
Banana
nope.
for scale. So here's how the game is going to work. Or first, let me say this. We're going to need 3 people to come up here. 3 people. Julia's going to choose them. Julia's going to choose them. Whoa, man, they're yelling at you already.
I'm gonna go down
And then you need to leave your mask on when you come up here. Okay, you need to leave your mask on when you come up here. Don't forget that. So Julia's going to choose 3 people, and here's how the game works.
Let's see here.
You're going to stand here.
Caitlin, it's your birthday. Come
Oh, wait,
on.
we got, let's see. Yeah, there you go,
Come
there
on,
you
you
go.
got it. It's easy. You got it.
Caitlin,
Yes,
give it up for Caitlin. Caitlin,
Do I got
Caitlin. Yeah. We got Brandon. Brandon, here you go.
You play every single week, Corbin. Yeah.
You whiteboard it yourself. There you go. There you go. There you go. And y'all are going to stand in a line like right here. You can scoot up a little bit. Y'all can scoot up a little bit. Here you go. There you go.
You
All right,
got
and
it,
then grab a
Caitlin.
marker. Grab a marker. Grab a marker. Grab a
Can we
marker.
say happy birthday to Caitlin?
It's
her
Caitlin's birthday, y'all.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Caitlin. All right, here you go. Take a marker. Take a marker. If yours doesn't write, then we'll get you another one. So here's how the game works. On the screen, the average banana,
Right.
give or take. Some bananas are, whatever.
Sure.
It's about 7 inches. And so here's the game. You're going to have a little bit of math to do. Who's great at math? Are any of you good at math?
I already have all my math credits.
You already have your math credits. Well,
So happy for you.
this schooling prepared you for this moment right here. So here's how the game works. We're going to put up on the screen a picture of something. It might be a person. It might be a building. It might be whatever. And you have to write down on your whiteboard how many bananas tall that thing is. I don't like this. Yeah, Caitlin doesn't like this already. Here's how it works, though. You're going to write your answer. We'll give you a few seconds. And then the person who gets closest to the correct number without going over, Price is Right style. Yeah. You could, if you want to risk putting 1, you can. But sometimes, you might not want to do that. But the person who gets closest to the correct answer or nails the correct answer right on will get a point. Yeah, Bob Barker. $1, Bob. So, make sense? You all with me? You all with me?
You got this. You got
All right, here we go. Here's our first picture right here. The Statue of Liberty. Well, you got to guess. How many bananas tall is the Statue of Liberty? And we need a specific number. A lot will not work.
That's definitely inaccurate.
If you want to, I don't think there are any.
Definitely.
But. Write your answer. Write your answer. How many bananas tall is the Statue of Liberty?
Remember, you said 7.5.
7 inches. 7 inches.
7.5 inches.
7
so
inches.
remember that.
You don't know? All right, you have your answers? We got a new marker, too, if you need it, if your marker's not writing. Yeah, here you go. All right, take a few seconds, write your answer down.
That's your guess. Remember that. Remember your
Write your
guys'
answer,
number.
write your answer, write your answer.
That's your guess, Caitlin.
All right, now our contestants, show the crowd your answers. So we got 2,500, we got 1,500,
Accurate.
and 157 bananas.
Caitlin, girl, come on.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's not 157, but Caitlin, great guess.
Good job.
What
It's
is
your
the
birthday.
correct
We'll
answer?
cut you some slack.
259
Whoa.
bananas.
I was so close. Don't even.
Caitlin, you got the point. Give
got
it up
the
for
point,
Caitlin.
girl.
Give it up for Caitlin. Great job.
I told you.
Great job. That had me fooled. I was thinking you all. So erase your answer. Erase your answer
Go
right
with
now.
your gut.
1, 0, 0. All right. What's our next item, Julia? What do we got?
Oh, goodness. Round 2. A basketball
Ooh.
hoop. Ooh. A basketball
You can
hoop.
like
You can lift them,
You
can't
can't
you?
use calculator, but you can do the math in your head or on the board. You can figure
You
this
can
out.
lift a basketball hoop. So, like, at its highest.
At its highest, I
Like
would say.
Wait, are we talking about
NBA.
Like the height of the thing. The whole
Like an
rim, the whole
NBA
thing,
hoop?
or the whole hoop, all the top.
Like
Yeah.
an NBA hoop.
NBA hoop, yeah.
Yeah, so like the tallest
Think about it.
they
Take
get.
take a few seconds. 10 more seconds. Write your answer.
20. Go. Stop. 6. Okay. If the statue is 8.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. 5, 4, 3,
Come on.
2, 1, and 0. Contestants, show your answers. We have 25. Is that 15? 15? And 27. Ooh.
This is gonna be tight.
Ooh. All right, here we go. What's the answer?
17.
17. 17. You nailed it. Wait. Yeah, you nailed it. Great job. Great job. Let's give it up. Give it up. Make some noise. Make some noise. Make some noise. We got 1, 0. Sorry, Brandon. All right, next
Brandon,
one.
come
Here
on,
we go.
man.
Round 3. Round 3, we've got
It's not that difficult.
Why would we get
the Empire State Building.
no one knows?
The Empire
I would say so.
State Building.
Hey, yeah.
Empire State Building.
We're giving away.
What do you think? The Empire State Building. How many bananas tall is the Empire State Building?
That's literally
You got to get this, Brandon. You don't have any points.
Yeah, Brandon, this is it. This is your time.
counting on you.
This is your
man.
time. 5, 4, 3,
True.
2, and 1. All right, contestants, show your answers. We got 400, 750, and 350. 400, 750, 350. What's the answer? Wow.
2,000?
So who had the highest? Oh, my man,
I was
2 in a row.
very
Let's make
off.
some noise. Make some noise. Great job.
Very off.
We got 1, 2,
Brandon, man,
And 0.
come on.
and 0.
Why is the Empire State Building 4 times as tall as the Statue of Liberty?
It's tall. It's tall. All right, Julia, what's our next round?
Round 4. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. How many bananas tall is Russell Wilson?
Isn't Russell Wilson also an actor?
Russell Wilson is a quarterback of the Seahawks. MVP lead right now, I'd say. It's helped my fantasy team out greatly.
I'm
Russell
pretty sure he's
Wilson,
also an actor.
how many bananas tall is Russell Wilson? 10, 9,
I wonder how tall
8,
he is in like normal feet.
7, 6, 5,
Definitely not that.
4,
Actually, go with your guy. I don't know.
3,
I'm off.
2, 1. All right. How many bananas tall is Russell Wilson? We have 11, 8, and 7. Ooh, this will be
Solid,
close.
solid.
11, 8, or 7. All right, what's the answer? 10. Oh, Brandon. Man, you are running away with this game. 3 in a row. Make some noise. Make some noise. 3 in a row.
Congratulations,
I
man.
wasn't getting brushed. I would've
11. You were right there. Right there.
Very close, man.
I know how to.
You gave him 1 extra. Yeah. All right. So we'll do a couple more. Julia, what's our next
Sounds
one?
good. Oh, jeez, Brandon. That's a direct
Here we go. Round
roast.
5.
Grand Canyon depth.
So how many bananas deep
At its deepest
is
point.
the Grand Canyon?
We're just gonna.
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Guesstimate. You got it.
Wouldn't even know where to begin.
You guess.
10, 9,
Who
8,
would know?
7,
No.
6. I have no idea. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, what do we have? We have 1,500. We've got 4,000. And then we've got 1,700.
Okay.
1,500, 1,700, 4,000.
Okey-doke.
All right, how many bananas deep is the Grand Canyon? 10,433. Are you
Brandon,
like?
what was yours?
I don't know.
Are you just like you're a genius? You're a genius. All right, make some noise. 4 in a row, banana expert. 4 in a row. Make some noise. Make some noise. You're doing great. All right. Want to do one? Wait, let's do one more.
Okay, that's
Let's do one more. One more. Tech team, we're gonna do one more. Here we go. Round 6 is
Shaquille O'Neal. Definitely
How many-
taller than Russell Wilson.
how many bananas tall
Yeah.
is Shaq?
10.
Yeah, Russell Wilson was 10 for reference.
And how tall would Russell Wilson be
No,
in regular
you can't
feet?
say that. That's cheating.
they all know Shaq's height. Yeah.
I don't know why you know that.
I don't know. Actually, this is not. No, never mind.
All right, how many bananas tall is Shaq? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contestants, reveal your answers. We got 14, we got 10, and we have 15. All right, here we go. We got 14, 10, 15. Tech team, what's the answer? 12. Wait, Brandon, did you get that?
No, I got 14.
Oh, no, again, give it up for our ultimate winner. Make some noise. And here is your prize. I need a drum roll for the prize, please. Drum roll, drum roll. Your very own banana.
Hey! Woo woo! Good job,
You have
Caitlin.
gone home
Hey.
the ultimate winner. Great job. Make some noise for all of our contestants.
Congratulations.
Make some noise for all of our contestants.
Once again, say happy birthday to Caitlin if you run into her. It's her birthday.
Yeah. Did Brandon get 0?
He got 0, sadly.
Brandon, I'm sorry.
You would
Maybe next
think.
time. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Maybe next time. But I want to invite our worship team back up here now. Make some noise for our worship team, by the way. Awesome, yep. We got a few more songs to sing, but first, we have a few announcements for you, things we don't want to let you forget about. So, Julia, what's our first one?
Okay, first one, make sure you follow us on all of our social medias. Very, very important if you want to stay updated with everything we're doing tonight, for the rest of the week, following weeks, forever. If you want to know, follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you follow us on TikTok.
TikTok.
If you guys want videos on TikTok, just send them to me, and I will get them on there.
Not
yeah.
banned yet.
Not banned yet.
Maybe it is, I don't know, but we're hanging on.
Hopefully it stays good.
Hopefully it stays alive, yeah.
Oh, do you
Hopefully.
want me to do the next one?
Hopefully. Yeah, do our next one. Do our next one. Then I got one
Okay.
quick reminder after that. Julie's got our second announcement.
Next week, we're starting our groups kickoff night. So our small groups. Woo, woo.
That's, you know what? I think they missed that.
Yeah,
Because I was expecting a little more excitement around groups. So run it back, Julia. Try it one more time.
Okay, is everybody ready for this?
And then, yeah, here
All
we go.
eyes,
Here we go.
all ears.
Here we go.
Next week, small group kickoff night starts. We're going back to small groups. So
And-
big night.
And we've got Pelicans coming here for free for you. Yeah, for free for you.
There we go. There's the.
5:30 to 6:30, they'll be here. So come a little early if you want next week. Come a little early.
Oh, yeah.
And then our times are going to be a little longer. We're going to be extended next week from instead of 6:30 to 8. We're going to be 6:30 to 8:30. Going to go 30 minutes longer so we can have group.
Woo-woo.
Yeah. And I'll save the next announcement for next week. There's one other fun thing that we're going to do with your groups, but I don't want to spoil it yet. We'll reveal it next week. It's all good. It's all good. It'll be fun. So we can't wait. If you've missed your small group leader, just make some noise. If you've missed your small group leader, yeah. We've missed being in groups. One last announcement, one last reminder. Student leadership team applications close tonight. So if you want to be a part of student leadership team, make sure you apply, like when you're in the car on your way home, make sure to visit egracechurch.com/CC Youth to apply. If you want to become a better leader, if you want to go closer to Jesus, and if you want to hang out with some pretty awesome people and plan some events, do it. It's going to be awesome. So
For sure.
we're going to worship for a little bit more now, but we have a video first. The second this video is over, stand to your feet and make a ton of noise for our worship team, all right? Watch this.
Let's go.
All right, on your feet, Revolution, let's worship. Breaks the power is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Who brings our chaos back into order? Who makes the orphan a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, worthy, worthy. Oh, this is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Amen. Amen. So I don't know about you, but there have been many times in my life where I've failed, where I've totally messed up. I will never forget being in middle school and trying out for the basketball team and not seeing my name on that list, on that roster. And I just kept thinking, oh, I'm a loser. Like, I'm not good enough. And I just began putting all these labels on myself, and other people are doing the same. And maybe you've experienced that yourself. Well, here's the deal, friends. God doesn't do that. There's only one label that he puts on you, and that is child of God, daughter of God, son of God. He claims you as his own. And so we're going to sing this next song that is called Who You Say I Am. And it's a reminder that even though that we may fail, that God tells us we are loved, we are forgiven, we are his own. So remember, as we sing this song, that he calls us his own. have a seat.
So I absolutely love Amazon. I said this earlier. Where are my other Amazon fans at? Where are you at? Yeah, like constant shoppers. Who has their Prime membership? Make some noise. Who's Amazon Prime? Yeah. So I love Amazon, but I have to say this. I order from Amazon so much that sometimes Amazon will give me some failed attempts at delivering what I'm trying to buy. For example, maybe I see something that I think is a certain size or looks a certain way, and then they send something that is, well, not that at all. She went over to the other building right now, but Stacy Knight, for those of you who know Stacy, checking you in, this happens to her all the time, where she tries to order something from Amazon, and she thinks she orders a full-size book, and the book is like this big. But anyways, I want to share with you three funnier Amazon fails where a family or a person ordered something and it didn't quite come looking the way they thought it would. So here's the first one. This family wanted a nice woven blanket, and you can see that it's, well, just kind of a bunch of yarn, like all in a pile. Here's another one. See, this mom wanted to order her son a pillowcase of a dinosaur, and she saw on Amazon a pillowcase. A dinosaur pillowcase, but really the pillowcase is of a boy laying on a dinosaur pillowcase. Yeah, isn't that just nightmarish, thinking about that in your room right now? That's just frightening. And then here's my favorite. Somebody, they wanted to order a chair for their room, and I think it's a little too small. What do you think? Yeah, it didn't quite work. See, Amazon has this tendency to do this, where we think we're ordering something, we think we see something, we think we know what something is, and then it turns out to not actually be what it is that we were searching for. What was delivered wasn't quite what we were looking for. Or we were expecting something else and got something we weren't expecting. And this idea of something not matching up, this idea of seeing one thing or expecting one thing but then seeing something else, this happens a lot in life, doesn't it? Whether we get a teacher in school that we hear is supposed to be really good, and then you get in their class and it's like, oh no, this is really, really hard. Or maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you enter into a friendship or a dating relationship and you're thinking it's going to go one way, but then really it turns out to be something completely different. And this whole idea of not getting what you expected or thinking one thing and having something else happen, it's a big stumbling block actually for people when it comes to the idea of Christianity. So we've been in this series called Cancel Christianity. We've been talking about myths of Christians, or myths of our faith, of our religion of Christianity. We've talked about how Christianity is a relationship. That was week 1. And so we're diving into some of these myths that we hear. And tonight we're going to look at this myth, and I'm sure you've heard this. Maybe you've even said this myth right here. That Christians are just a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, woo! Yeah, like you all just went, what? Yeah, like maybe you've heard this, maybe you've even said this before. I know I've heard this before. It's this idea that Christians are just a bunch of hypocrites, and that what is taught or said about how they should be is not actually lived out or done by other Christians. Now, if you're wondering what is a hypocrite, let me define this for you. It's on the screen. A hypocrite is a person who puts on a false appearance of virtue or religion. Or it's a person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. It's basically this idea that as Christ followers, we say one thing and yet we do another. And that's where this idea, this statement of all Christians are just a bunch of hypocrites, it comes from. That's where this comes from. It comes from this idea of expecting one thing or hearing one thing about what we believe, but then we're acting a totally different way. That's where this idea comes from. And just think about our world today for a second. Okay, think about our world today. I know my Instagram feed, my Facebook feed, all the social platforms that I'm on, my Twitter, it is filled with posts of like Bible verses and positive things, and then the next second, it's the same person posting something just terrible about a group of people. And here's the deal. We'd be foolish to say that that's not us too. We'd be foolish to point the finger and go, yeah, I've seen a bunch of other people do that, because I know for me during this season, I've had to check myself. And when I see a comment or see a post that really gets me fired up and I just want to say something right back, I have to ask myself this question: is my response what Jesus would say? Is it what he would say? Is it how he would handle this situation? Because too often I can find myself falling into this same trap of not doing what it is that I'm saying, or not living out what it is that I believe and what I know is right. See, and here's the deal. We can sometimes get caught up in this idea of, well, we have to be perfect. But is that the aim of what Christianity is? Because nobody's perfect. I know you're shocked right now. Look to your neighbor and remind them. Say, hey, you're not perfect. Tell them, you're not perfect. But then, but don't say it too, like, look at them and go, but I'm not perfect either. Yeah, nobody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. So the goal of Christianity is not necessarily to make more perfect people, but let me say this, that does not let us off the hook of just going, well, I'm going to mess it up anyway, let's just do whatever. We can't just throw our hands up and say that, because while we might not be righteous in all of our actions all the time, we are still called to be representative of who Jesus is. Even though all our actions might not be righteous, we might not get it all right, we might make mistakes, we are still called to be representative of who he is and the faith that we believe. So what does Jesus have to say about hypocrisy? Right? So if Christians are just a bunch of hypocrites and that's what this is all about, what does Jesus himself have to say about this? And so we're going to look at a story. And if you've noticed the theme here, this story is also another time where Jesus is talking to the religious leaders called the Pharisees. Say Pharisees. Yeah, Jesus is talking once again to the Pharisees, who are the religious leaders of that day. And the story, the few verses we're going to look at, this comes at a point where Jesus has been sort of like hammered with them with questions, okay? Like they've been hammering questions at him, trying to trap him, trying to get him to mess up and say the wrong thing or say something that they can jump on. And so after a bunch of questions about a bunch of different topics, a bunch of conversation, Jesus says these words. And we're going to read two different versions of this, or two different translations of this from different translations of the Bible. So here's what this says. This is Matthew 23, verses 1 through 5. It says, "Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, 'The teachers of religious law and the Pharisees are the official interpreters of the law of Moses. So practice and obey whatever they tell you, but don't follow their example. For they don't practice what they teach. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. Everything they do is for show.'" Right? Like, that's crazy. If you make sure you caught this. So in the beginning, Jesus is saying, like, these guys are the official interpreters of the law of Moses. That's basically like they know their stuff. They know their stuff about the faith. But then he twists it and he goes, but even though they know their stuff, don't follow their example. And then he names a few reasons why, and we are not going to read the whole thing, but he keeps going on and on and on and talks about how it is that they are not living out the faith that they say to practice. So notice here, Jesus is not applauding their hypocrisy. Jesus is calling out their hypocrisy and saying they believe one thing, but they're not living it out. And that it's wrong. Here's how another translation of the Bible, the Message translation, puts it. It says, "Now Jesus turned to address his disciples along with the crowd that had gathered with them. The religion scholars and Pharisees are competent teachers in God's law. You won't go wrong in following their teachings on Moses, but be careful about following them. They talk a good line, but they don't live it. They don't take it into their hearts and live it out in their behavior. It's all spit and polish veneer. Instead of giving you God's law as food and drink by which you can banquet on God, they package it into bundles of rules, loading you down like pack animals. They seem to take pleasure in watching you stagger under these loads and wouldn't think of lifting a finger to help." Did you catch that line? They talk a good line, but they don't live it out. See, what Jesus was saying here is that these Pharisees, that they're doing the very thing that he's speaking against. They're doing the very thing of being hypocrites. That they believe one thing, but they're not living it out in the way that they should. So here's the deal. Yes, Jesus condemns hypocrisy, but that's not all he does. Jesus condemns hypocrisy, but extends grace. there's a trade-off that happens here with Jesus. He doesn't just condemn hypocrisy and cast everyone aside that is a hypocrite. No, there's an amazing trade-off that happens here, where he condemns hypocrisy, yes, but he extends grace. Which means that in the midst of our mistakes, in the midst of our failure, in the midst of us not being able to live up to the perfect standard and perfect belief that we have in who God is, there's grace for you. There's grace for me. That there's grace. Jesus extends grace to us. And not grace for us to take advantage of. Not grace for us to go, well, I can do whatever I want because God will forgive me. It's not that. This is the kind of grace that helps us be able to get up when we fall down. And to continue walking toward Jesus in a close relationship with him. That's what this grace helps us do. It helps us not stay down forever. It helps us to continually draw close to him, even in the midst of our failure, even in the midst of our mistakes. In the beginning of the book of John, which is the story of Jesus, John very poetically writes about how Jesus came into this earth, and he talks about the grace that he brought with him. It says, from his abundance we have all received one gracious blessing after another. For the law was given through Moses, but God's unfailing love and faithfulness came through Jesus. See, grace is a part of who God is. And the gift of grace is what Jesus brought to you and to me. That means that our failures are not final, that our mistakes don't have to end us, that we are able to continue walking with him. The goal of Christianity is not to create more perfect people. That's not it. It's to create more followers of Jesus. If you don't hear anything else, here's what I want you to know tonight, that Christianity, it's imperfect people following a perfect God. That when you boil it all down, when you look at what Christianity really is, it's this. It's quite simple. It's imperfect people following a perfect God. It's a bunch of people who don't do it right all the time, following after a God that loves us most and best and loves us perfectly. And here's what that means. That means everyone's welcome. That you don't have to meet a certain standard to follow God. That you don't have to get your act together and get cleaned up before you go to him. Because if you do that, you're going to be waiting a while. Because you're never going to do it perfectly. But here's what that means. That means you can still go to God in the midst of your weakness, in the midst of your failure, in the midst of your brokenness. And God is there waiting because his grace is enough. The early church missionary and author of a lot of the New Testament, Paul, he talked about this very idea that God's grace is enough. And in this specific writing that we're going to look at, Paul, he was struggling with something. He was struggling with this unnamed thing. And he talks about how he asked God to take it away, and he kept asking God to take it away, and just take it away and help me. But then he talks about what God's response to him was, and it was this. That each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. And as Paul says, so now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. See, this is good news, friends, that God's power still works in the midst of weakness. That we don't have to be perfect, that we don't have to have it all figured out, that his power still works. In the midst of our imperfection, he extends grace to us. But what does that mean sitting right here for you and for me? Well, there's a couple different mindsets I think we might have sitting here. Or maybe you have both of these mindsets. I think there's one mindset that we have sitting here where we say that we believe that myth that we said earlier, that Christians are just a bunch of hypocrites. And it might not be the people sitting next to you, but chances are there might be, whether it's a friend that you know or whether it's someone that's let you down or somebody, chances are you might sit there and you might believe sort of this very thing. That not all Christians are hypocrites, but some are. And here's the deal. I've even heard some of us say this when we say things like, oh, if you only knew what they did. Here's what that does. That puts this person lower than us. So maybe we fueled the stereotype of looking down on someone for their mistakes. But there's also some of us in here, we're in another mindset too. Where maybe we sort of feel like the hypocrite. Where we question ourselves and go, how can I sing on a worship team? Or how can I serve in student leadership? Or how can I have influence with students when it comes to Jesus when I don't have it right, when I mess up, when I struggle with that thing? I can't do it. And maybe you've bullied yourself into believing that you are a hypocrite. And no matter which mindset you're in, if you're in this mindset of thinking you are the hypocrite, if you're in this mindset thinking of maybe others are hypocrites, I want to challenge you to do two things tonight. First one is to acknowledge your own imperfection. And not in a way that bullies yourself, not in a way that beats you up, but here's what acknowledging your own imperfection does. It resets the scale. To where if you're judging others and you are calling others hypocrites for what they do, when you realize that you're not perfect either, it's a little humbling, isn't it? So maybe what you need to do is take a moment and not bully yourself, not beat yourself up, but just acknowledge your own imperfection. Acknowledge that you don't have it all figured out either, that you're struggling. Here's the second thing. Yeah, acknowledge your own imperfection, but then confess your imperfection to God and someone else. Bring that thing, whatever it is, those things even, those multiple things, bring that to God. Tell him. You might be like, well, he already knows. Why do I have to tell him? Well, can I tell you how powerful it is to admit to God what it is that he already knows, but maybe you've been hesitant to think or to say? So confess your imperfection to God and someone else too. Whether that's a youth pastor or a pastor of this church or a small group leader or another adult, whoever it is, and bring that thing to them. Maybe a trusted friend even. Because here's what I know. I know that secrets and the things that we carry, burdens on our own, they can't get better until someone else knows. And the stuff we carry in the dark can't go away until we bring it to the light. So bring your imperfection. Bring that thing to God and to somebody else. I want to invite the worship team up here, and I'm going to close with a story. Because there was a time, probably a year and a half ago, actually right around a year ago, where I kind of fell in both of these mindsets. Let me explain. So on one hand, what I was doing is I was seeing other worship or other ministry leaders, other people in my life and around the world even, like people I was connected to, and I was seeing them, and I was starting to really become hypocritical thinking with them, where I would say, I know the stuff that they do. I know how they've screwed up here. I know the mistakes they make, and you call them a pastor. You call them somebody really good. And here's what was going on. What was happening is I was bringing other people down and tearing them down because I was so insecure about my own faults. I was so insecure about my own leadership gaps, my own mistakes, my own stuff that I had, that I wanted to tear other people down so I could feel better about myself. So I was dancing between both of these mindsets. I was tearing other people down, calling them hypocrites, but I really felt like a hypocrite on my own. So I took some time off last October, about a week and a half. And during that time, I just was weary. I was so tired. Have you ever been tired before? Have you ever been tired? I was tired. And so I was sitting, and I was just venting all this to God. I was venting about that person and that leader and that person who's a hypocrite, and I was venting about my own stuff and how my own imperfections and my own junk and my own stuff, and I was just letting all this go to God. And then in a moment, I heard God say, what if instead of trying to bully others and bully yourself into perfection, what if you just followed me? What if you just followed me? What if you just embraced gentleness on yourself? What if you stopped beating yourself up and bullying yourself and letting the voice in your head tell you how worthless you are and started looking to a perfect God, a good Father? And something in that moment, it just broke me. And for the first time in a really long time, I began to think about this idea that God is gentle with me. That even though I don't have it all figured out, he's not there waiting to drop the hammer on me time and time again. And I began to think about what it looks like to have a good God that extends really good grace to me. Friends, you don't have to bully yourself. You don't have to think terribly about other people. You don't have to see other people as hypocrites. You can rest in God's grace. Because Christianity isn't about making more perfect people. It's imperfect people following a perfect and loving God. Let's stand for prayer. God, we thank you for your grace. God, we thank you that our mistakes don't have to be final. Our failures don't have to be fatal. God, that because of the grace you extend to us, that our imperfections, we can lean into them. God, that we can embrace them and we can bring them to you. And God, for some of us here, we might have felt like the biggest failures walking in here. We might have thought that idea that there's no way I can walk into a church because the building's going to fall down. And God, I pray right now for those of us that might be thinking that about our own lives, God, I pray that your grace would just find us right now here in this place. That we would feel your embrace, that we would feel your love. And God, that we would feel your gentleness. God, for those of us here that maybe we've had this negative view of Christ followers, this negative view of what Christianity is, God, I pray that there would be a reset that happens in our minds tonight. God, that instead of looking for certain people and certain faults, we would understand that everybody has faults, that no one's going to do it perfectly, but that we're following someone who perfectly loves and extends grace. God, help us with this. It's in your name we pray. Amen. So we're going to sing one more song for worship, and I want to invite you, if you want to come up here to the altar and pray, there's some areas that you can do so that are a little socially distanced apart. Let's sing together about our good, good Father.
Stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are, it's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers only you can provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are, it's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me.
Can we thank God for our worship team tonight? Yeah. So remember that yes, Jesus condemns hypocrisy, but he also extends grace to you and to me. That Christianity is not a bunch of perfect people, it's a bunch of imperfect people following a perfect God. So it's been great to be together or watching online for those that are watching now or later. And if you're online, we're going to say goodbye. So everyone turn around real quick, as loud as you can. Say goodbye online. And then before we're done in person, I have two quick reminders. First, student leaders.